Hello, my astrology family. This is Lada from astrolada.com. And today I would like to present to you a very special lady. Her name is Lady Casha, and she's a psychic. And I very rarely present here psychics because for the 10 years I've been working, it's very hard to find really gifted psychics. And when this happens, I feel so excited. So today I want to present to you Lady Casha, and she's not going to show her face. Hello, Lady Casha.
Hello, Lada. It's nice to be here. Nice to see you.
Thank you. And can you tell people why you chose not to? You told me when we connected that you don't want your face to be seen, so people know what the reason is.
First and foremost, yes, it's a soul choice. I feel it. To keep my ego out of the picture as much as possible, because otherwise, the attention goes to my person a little bit, and that makes me self-conscious, and that gets in the way of my work, I feel.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I hope everyone would appreciate that choice of Lady Casha. And I was very impressed because you contacted me almost half a year ago. And I said, can you make a test reading to someone? I did not tell you who they were. I just gave you their name and their details. And you wrote to me. You wrote everything that you saw psychically. And that was my sister-in-law. I want to tell this story if you don't mind. And she was very depressed that summer. She could not even wake up from bed. She says, like, I would spend the whole day just, it hit her. Maybe it was the lockdown, but she was just very depressed, lying down, very down on herself. And you knew nothing about her. And you immediately started writing that she's currently feeling low, way worse than she normally feels, and that this is something quite temporary. And you gave recommendations and advice. It was very beautiful. And then you said, within the next 3 months, you're going to meet someone, but this will be someone from your past, someone you already know, and this will be the love of your life. And you're going to be together, and it will be a great relationship. And I was like, all right. She can barely get up from her bed. And you wrote this in August, and in October, she basically met someone from her high school times that they were friends with, and now they're happily together. They started, and you said it's going to develop very fast, I remember in the writing. And I kind of joked, I showed it to her, and she kind of rolled her eyes and said, that's ridiculous. And that's exactly what happened. Within less than 2 weeks, they were living together. Now they're around the world together everywhere. So I was very impressed. And only then, when these things manifested, I said, okay, this is someone with a true gift. Can you tell us a little bit about your gift, how it came about?
My gift?
Yes.
Okay, so the way I understand it today, because my understanding of it has changed throughout my life, but I am predominantly clear cognizant, clear knowing. I don't see so much in inner pictures. I don't have an inner TV screen where I see things. I just know it comes to me. And also, and I understand that is the reason why I did not pick up on being psychic earlier, because I thought it was my own mind. But I always had this prophetic ability to say things early on, even when as a teenager, that I did not know where it came from, but it just turned out to, be that way, or profound understandings of things that just jumped out of my mouth while I was still being a teenager and doing all the teenage stuff. So some 25 years ago, or a little bit more, I was in a pretty, I didn't understand who I was. I didn't understand how life worked. I didn't understand, the spiritual side to life. And I was in a miserable place. And from that, I actually had a numerology reading. And from that, I suddenly understood that I am a soul. I'm here for a reason. And also that you could say, simply, thoughts are things, that my mind does decide the kind of experiences that I have in my life. And things started to happen very fast when I started to work with affirmations and scientific prayer. And I had a profound mystical awakening, I would say, to my own spiritual self. And then I was on that path for maybe 15 years and a little bit more. And then the psychic abilities started to come forth. So I've been into that for maybe 10 years. So it's just become stronger and stronger the more I step into my soul's energy, and I'm on my soul's path. I use the psychic ability to empower myself and others. So
Thank you so
I'm
much.
not the conventional reader, I would say. You know, if you expect, you know, to need to tell you there will be a dark, tall, handsome man in 3 weeks, I may not be able to do it that figurative, like in a picture, but I connect with the energy and I interpret them.
That's what you wrote. You said, I feel very strong energy of a male that is approaching her. And you said, actually, you said within 3 months in the autumn. And you also wrote that this will be someone she knew already. And that's exactly what happens. So you feel the energy and you describe it. So that's fascinating.
Yeah.
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 Thank you so much. And you prepared for us today. I asked you for this interview when I'm introducing you to our viewers that you, if you can tap into the collective and what's coming for the world ahead for all of us. And you prepared something for us. And I'm very excited to hear what it is.
Yes, I did. And it's my style. I asked to be shown what we need to know about the general energies for the world. I did this from the March equinox 21 to the next. So it's a full year. So I wrote it down because that's my way of keeping focused, and I meditate on what I get. And you know, obviously English is not my first language, so sometimes I don't want to get caught up in not finding the right words and stuff. I have that done beforehand. So
and you already made for us on the channel a recording for the 12 for the 9 numbers, isn't it, for the 9 life path numbers for the next 12 months, and it was so well accepted. I think it has like 30,000-40,000 views. And it was so insightful. I listened to my number and I was like, wow. So now this is
yeah,
general for the whole world
nice.
picking up. Okay, so you're going to read it?
Okay, yeah. So, sorry.
Yeah, carry on, nothing.
Yeah. So I structured the reading. I looked first at what is the situation at hand right now, and it's obviously there is a focus on security for many people, and that we live in an unstable reality has become apparent to all of us. Some of us knew that already from our own lives, but now it's like for everybody is aware. And there's also at the same time something hidden going on, and nobody has all the facts, and nobody is entirely accurate understanding what's really going on. I mean, we all get pieces of it, I feel, and some get, but there are like, you can't figure out what's happening from looking at the surface level of things. And then when you connect to the invisible energies, there are different levels of understanding and consciousness there too. So everybody's trying to piece it together.
Mm-hmm.
But that is the way to find out, to look within, and but to keep in mind that you get a piece of the picture, and what's true on one level may not necessarily be true on another level.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we need to, in a way, be open, embrace that there are many truths, especially in the way that we relate to each other right now, and to just accept that there are different levels of understanding.
And everyone is tapping at a different level. That's why people feel so divided, because they think
exactly.
they're the answer, but okay, yeah.
Yeah. So it's only at the level of source, you know, the absolute, that everything is completely one and no separation. Outside of that, there's always polarity to a different degree, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I mix this a little bit with my understanding. What comes to me too is that I believe strongly, that's what I feel, that we are already on the right side of this. Things are going to work out for the better, but there's always a, there was a time not that very long ago, and from what I also have understood, maybe in the 80s, there was a much more critical situation for us globally. And I know you've been into the scale of consciousness. So from what I understand by reading Hawkins, who is the creator of that scale of consciousness, in the late 80s, if I remember this rightly, humanity as a whole made a jump forward above the critical level of 200. Everything below it is more destructive than constructive, and everything above it is more constructive than destructive. So we are on that path already, and it's become even more since then.
And you feel it as well, like claircognitantly.
Yes, and that's and also, but at the same time, we need to remember when looking at it in that perspective, that most people are yet in a very low state of fear and apathy and shame and everything. So look, if we judge the world by what we see with our physical eyes, we do not get the right understanding of it.
Mm-hmm.
But there are enough souls here now with a high enough level of consciousness or in a high enough state that counterbalances this vast majority of people that are still, living in miserable lives, unfortunately. Yeah.
And that's what, at the end of the 80s, there was what they call the convergence. Many psychics talk about it. They felt like a huge shift in energy. And astrologically, what happened at the end of the 80s was that Uranus, Neptune, and Saturn conjoined together.
Oh, I didn't know that.
With their big conjunctions of outer planets, there are certain jumps in consciousness. And
Wow.
happened again in 2020. Not so many outer planets, but Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
and we're coming in the next 3-4 years. There will be a few more such convergences. First, Saturn and Jupiter and Neptune, but that's a small one. But then Saturn and Neptune and Saturn and Uranus. So there will be further jumps around, in the next 6 years,
cool.
I think.
Yeah, and that ties very well into what I'm seeing and feeling here now. So that's great. So I think too, I got a little bit of a chill or goosebump when you said that, because also from what I understand is that around the time, and this is what I've heard and felt to be true. So this is not my direct knowing, but I feel it to be true, that sometime around the end of the Second World War, Hiroshima, then we were actually on the brink of blowing the entire thing up here. And since then, there's been massive amount of souls coming into this reality to change it, to bring their high energy in. So just to shift that shifting point. And what happened in the 80s with that jump and what's happening now, that's the result of that. There are more souls now here with a very high energy that they are bringing in. And the more the total energy rises, the more advanced souls can come in, because there was a point that they couldn't, because the energy here was so dense.
Oh, I see. And that's why it was so fascinating when we did the quantum vibration of children that are being born now. And Elena Alejandro said, we're amazed that almost all the children that they've measured in the last 10 years that have been coming, they come already at the vibration of love. And currently very few people reach love, not the vibration, like 1 in 1,000. But they were saying most of the children now are coming to vibration 500 and above. So we've done something right. If they can incarnate now, you're right, the vibration must be higher than normal.
Yeah, you're cracking up a little bit because the internet is a bit unstable, so I didn't get all of that, but I got the gist of what you were saying.
I hear you very well. I hear you perfectly. So that.
Okay, great. It's me not hearing you so very well all the time, but I see you, so I can, yeah. Yeah. So those souls, they were like spontaneous abortions and stuff like that if they came to earlier, if they came earlier, I think. So now the energy of the whole is allowing for that, and that's very beautiful. And that the there's an acceleration. It gets faster and faster, you know, it's a positive spiral going. And I feel too that when I see like young kids today, 10, 15 years, they really have a different vibe just by looking at them than say 40 years ago. So that's,
They will sort us out.
yeah, they will, if we let them, and we will. Yeah. So yeah, so where are we now then? The present. We have really been shaken, but that has been necessary, and things are definitely as bleak as they seem if we look at the surface level of things. And like I said, in actuality, everything is working out. It may take some time, but it's working out as it should. And we are on the right track, even if we can't see it or feel it. And when I say we, I talk about us that are a little bit awake to this this dilemma that we're having, you know, and that things are not maybe what they seem.
I think half the world is on that side now,
Yeah.
starting to question. So I'm surprised because always every time there was, I started from 20 years ago, every time with 9/11 and any such kind of a big event, I knew that it was not what it seemed. And because I've been in those, in this state of thinking since I was very young, my dad trained me this way almost. With the books I was attracted. And I thought it would never come. And I always felt I was 1 in 1,000 that would feel that. And suddenly last year and this year, it's half the world. And I'm like, wow, there's a huge jump of people.
Yeah. Yeah, and many are now, because of these current circumstances, making maybe for the first time a link to a higher plane or to an unseen reality, you know, and working with their higher mind. So, and they are in turn then becoming involved in service and helping others with their gifts and powers and abilities. You know, it's really something good going on if you can just allow yourself to see it, you know, I think.
That's the hugest.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of the people that are starting to realize it now, they were born at the end of the 80s. They are kind of, a lot of them are the ones, they were born during that convergence. So they had the potential that they would break through let's say the 3D matrix storyline that we're being fed.
Yeah. So we are all entering new realms of experience, and there's no going back to any so-called normal. Things have changed forever. But it's much more than this, whatever you want to call it, this little thing hopping around and making some of us sick. But we are ready to take on this challenge and the situation that we're facing. So actually, we've been trained and working towards this through our previous experiences, and to be here now, even though we have not been aware of it. Yeah, so the first, I divided, just like I did in that other reading, I divide a year into 3 different time periods then. So the first, and I go by the astrological months. So through Aries, from Aries through Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and Cancer. There will be some legal affairs affecting all of us. And for some it will be good, and for some it will be more trying and challenging. in the immediate experience of it. And there will be continued combativeness between people, more of what we've already seen, differences of opinion and conflicts between different perspectives and understanding. There's like a war of opinion going on, you know, everybody, and nobody really has backup in the, most people don't have like sufficient backup to what they're saying. They just take something out of a newspaper or something here and there, and then they, you know, hitting each other in the head with it. So the sharp divide that has become apparent between people who believe one way and others the other will remain, and the aggression may even it doesn't seem to be going away, rather become perhaps a little bit worse. But at the same time, more and more people will be taking a step back and disengage in this fruitless debate of who's right and who's wrong without backing it up. And they will be redirecting their attention on more constructive ways of dealing with what we're facing.
Yeah, about time.
Yeah.
One moment you just exhaust your energy, it becomes useless.
Yeah.
Sometimes you repeat your opinion.
Absolutely. And like I mentioned, more people are also coming to an understanding of the correlation between the inner and the outer, and will be working on their spiritual development and connection. You know, there's this famous saying that's almost like a cliche now, but if you want to change the world, change yourself. But it stems from the truth of things. You know, if you want to fix something out there, fix it in here, and then things will. But there's since this is a reality where things do not happen instantaneously, it takes some time for that to unfold. The shift in energy can be instant, but for it to play out in the material or the physical realm takes time. So we need everybody. I mean, I think more and more people are waking up to that. I feel that to be a truth, and not judging things according to what they look like now, but understand that they are the way they are today because what we did or thought yesterday. So if we want a different tomorrow, we need to change today. But if we constantly keep thinking that this is the way it is from what we see with our eyes, we keep ourselves chained and we hold ourselves back. So
this is incredible. Yesterday, something amazing, similar happened to me. I think yesterday, I don't know, it was like a spiritual revelation moment for me, and something broke in me and changed, because have quite negative internal narrative. And I had an epiphany, and I said, I cannot, if I keep giving this negative narrative, I beat myself down a lot. And I said, I'll never be able, and I consider things to be very difficult, especially taking care of my health and such things, because like I beat myself down a lot. And I had a revelation, and since then something changed in my mind, and I'm like, I'm only going to speak to myself kindly inside. And it's nonstop for 24 hours. Every time I want to say something, oh, it's so hard, like to wake up early, so hard to eat healthy. I'm like, no, it's the easiest, it's the most pleasant way. It's like, and it's been flowing, and I committed. It's like, it was so powerful. Yesterday I committed that from now on my internal dialogue will be only positive about the things I consider difficult. I would start talking to myself. They're the easiest. They happen. They're the most natural, the most pleasant thing. And something, so much pain disappeared from me, so much pressure. And I think there will be a lot of people that are having sudden realizations like that. For me, it's probably the most important day of my life in years, what happened yesterday. And I know I'm committed to this positive internal dialogue from now on, because I suddenly realized that your internal dialogue will manifest outside. And I've known that. I've read it in books, but yesterday was like, it hit me like a ton of brick with a clear knowing inside. And that's it. Something shifted. But sorry to interrupt. Carry on. I just wanted to give an example.
No, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And you're really driving home the point here. And that is what changed my life 25 years ago. I started to use positive affirmations and scientific prayer. I had a no tolerance for anything else. And, you know, life turned 180 from there, and I'm still on that road. So I never I don't think that I ever teach something that I do not have a personal experience from. It's very much part of my path. So I know that it works. But then if you're ready for it or not, that's another thing. But absolutely that what you're saying. And I think that is what people are maybe starting to understand now, and making that correlation, you know, between the inner and the outer. That's beautiful. Yeah. Congratulations, because I think that that is the most important experience or insight you can make in your entire life.
It's incredible. I've read so many times about that, but it's like I'll read it outside. Wow, that makes so much sense. But yesterday it just hit me. I can't away when my husband said, "You've changed in 24 hours. What happened to you?"
Yeah.
My energy, because I kept repeating for years, I have low energy. I'm not, you know, I'm getting old, and I was feeling this. And yesterday something shifted, and I'm like, no, I have lots of energy. I love eating healthy food. I love being healthy, and I've been doing all those things in 24 hours. My attitude changed, how I feel, my physical body, everything in a second. So
yeah, you can think of yourself like a general, and your mind is like the headquarter, and you communicate with every cell, every thought you have, every word. So if you're constantly telling your army of cells that it's hard, and it's, you know, they get depressed, they don't want to fight, they don't want, you know, in the good way, they don't want to do what they're here for, they get depressed. So you can and another mistake I feel that we tend to do, like, just we get um, um, educated into it, is to think that it's a truth just because we thought it many times. So we start to believe that which was a false idea or a lie in the beginning, and then we start being run by our minds instead of taking control over it. And it's very much like actually an addiction, because every thought has a chemical signature. And if you think the same thought many times, you actually get addicted to that special cocktail of chemicals. So when I work with people, and from my own experience, there's a zero tolerance for that first thought. As soon as you become aware that you have it, you stop yourself, and instead you start using something else that creates a reality that you feel attracted to and that is joyful and good for you. But you need to...
It's not true now. You say, no, I choose instead that this will be true. You might be sick now. You might have illness. But you say, no, I'm healthy. I have energy. I'm abundant.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And that would be your reality tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or so to speak, tomorrow, or in an hour, or wherever. If you start to affirm it now, it will sooner or later be your reality, depending, of course, of how much subconscious material you have that starts to make to resist that new reality that you're programming in. You can think of it like starting to use a new muscle that you never used before. And then as soon as something happens, you start to use that overused muscle again, because so it's like it can take some time, and you can also have a backlash reaction when you start. That could be good for you to know, that when you now start to put in a new programming, your old programming will probably start fighting for its life for a moment or two. And that is the crucial point, not to give in, to be very firm. Just like, you know, with a little kid, 3 years old, and doesn't want to do this or that. You need to take charge of your brain and not let it run your entire, the entire show. And so that's maybe the most important choice I think you can do in your life, and not to give up, because it will be challenged. But if you know how it works and why it works this way, you will get back at it. And nobody is successful at the first try. So you just get on it again.
Yeah, absolutely. Mind over matter.
Yes. in a very practical, tangible way, you know, just do it and see what happens. And, you know, yeah. So I think this is what's happening now. And also people are starting to do more research for themselves, understanding that actual facts and truths may not be served to them through conventional channels. I will leave it at that. But I think that everybody needs to really, I mean, this is choice, but it's nice if people, you know, start to think a little bit for themselves. Yeah.
The opposite of what mainstream media says. They say, don't do your own research, it's dangerous. They said it.
Yes, and I'm amazed actually. Yeah. Okay, I'll just leave it at that. So the next time period, when the sun is moving through the next 4 signs, Leo, Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio, there will be a little bit of a new start. It has some kind of magical quality to it. And people are then beginning to find a way to live with these challenges and this new situation, no longer being as triggered and reactive as they have been, but understanding more of the deeper workings of the situation and adapting to it in a good way. Some may also be separating themselves from the environment and choosing more actively the path that they want to take into the future, and finding alternative ways of creating a life in the face of this changed reality that we now have. And people are realizing the need to take their own lives in their own hands and not relying on institutions and governments to take care of them. Because that, I think that era in the world is done with forever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a great miracle as well, seeing it fall apart in front of your eyes so quickly.
Yeah.
Of thousands of years.
Yeah. So as people are waking up to the power within and deciding for themselves, you know, what their life is about, they will also start forming groups and communities in doing so that are like alternative to there's like a split of two.
Hello, Kasha, Lady Kasha, I lost you. Hello.
Are you with me? Yeah, we had
starting of a split of.
Yes, a split of basically, I think, 2 different ways of seeing reality. And then there can be differences within these 2, of course, but there will be
Hello, we lost you again. Sorry. We lost you for a little bit. I'll pause the recording. Sorry, we got cut off for a little bit.
Okay, great. So yeah, I remember where we were at.
Yes, it's recording now. Yeah, you can start. It's recording. You can carry on.
Okay, great. Let me just find where I put everything. There it is. So yeah, I feel that there are some people talking about and speculating and or have their own insight of what's going to happen with, they talk about, you know, shift to different 2 worlds and everything. But I feel that this world has already shifted to a large degree. At least for me, I feel very removed from what was before, and it's like I don't have any connection anymore to what was, and that I feel that these 2 different ways of understanding and being in the world will be parallelly, that we will be here, all of us. So it's not like a very, not physical for those who only use their physical eyes, but it will be perceived by those who are oriented with their inner being, so to speak, if you follow me there.
Absolutely. That's exactly what I see with astrology, and I feel it in my body. It will be just parallel. The people will be living with 2 different philosophies, if you want, about life. And now they're fighting, but at one moment they'll say, okay, whatever. You live how you want, I'll live how I want. And it will be just running like 2 rivers next to each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. So, and I think that it will become less of an intellectual things for those who already are onto these subjects, and more like a felt reality, like an inner knowing, just a being. Because that's, I think, the most important things for the entire planet, that we actually embody who we really are, and not just, you know, not just being talking heads or being in our minds, because that's not often a very good place to be. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's
Okay, so let me see more where I have to say about this middle period. Okay, so there can also be during this middle 4 months attempts to enforce regulations from government and establishment, but I feel that it will not entirely pan out in a desired way for the ones in charge of doing so. Many will comply, but for others it will rather fuel an awakening of sorts, and a questioning of things.
I'm so
And
happy to hear that.
yeah, and then the last period from when the sun moves into Sag and through Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces up until the next equinox, there is an energy of more open conflict between rivaling and competing ideas, positions, and people, or between people and the establishment. People may feel that, you know, the relative harmony that they just experienced is getting a bit of a slap in the face, and they will have to fight more for their ways, their new ways, and the way they want it.
Wow.
Getting our own and having the freedom will be a little bit challenged and opposed, as, or at least seemingly it will in large parts of the world, although there will be pockets that are less affected, and to where people will start to look and move actually too. So yeah,
So
many people,
we're gonna start seeing which places we're actually drawn to more to go and live, whoever wants to live differently.
yes. And that is very much about making a connection both to your inner self and really listening to your inner higher guidance, and not to your thinking of how things should be and what you should do, but actually learning to live, you know, this famous in the moment kind of way, and letting it guide you without you knowing exactly what's the destination. But to, you know, if you are aligned with who you truly are in every step, you will end up in the right place. You don't need to worry about that. You only need to worry about today, or not worry, but take care of today. So many people will at this point,
Sorry, carry on.
you go.
Many people at this point will.
I lost you. Come again.
Oh, it just sounded to me that it will continue the lockdowns and the restrictions, because if people are trying to find places where they feel freer and trying and fighting more, it seems like it will continue another
Yes.
year. Okay, thank you.
Yes, and what I'm saying, but you asked me originally if there would be a total lockdown, and I do not think that that is the case. There will be different parts of the world that will be very far ahead in that, but there will be other parts of the world where it will not be the case. So it's like you can't say one or the other, but the majority, I think, this will be going on for a few more years. It won't be over like this summer or this winter.
So it's planned for a few more years, obviously. Yeah, that's what a lot of us
Yeah.
are feeling and afraid of, but there
Yeah.
is a meaning
I
there.
don't
Yeah.
I don't think we should be afraid of it, even if it's uncomfortable. And of course, everybody, you know, have their part in the world and what they need to do with their energy and what they need to address and bring to surface and everything. But for me, at least, I feel that I feel very anchored that this is actually working out for the better. That this is like you know, a birth is messy, and that this, you know, and for many, including for me, pain is the touchstone that makes you actually wake up to reality and to who you are. So yes, it may be painful for some, but I think that that will also be, you know, the opportunity to seize this moment and start to be a real creator, co-creator of your own life.
Oh,
Not
and
to,
nothing
yeah.
motivates you like pain, because we've been talking, I've been dreaming about living in such societies, but unless a few years of lockdown and such restrictions happens, I'm never gonna move my bum to do something about it. And now it's like, okay,
Yeah,
there's no
yeah,
option. Do I want to live like that, or do I want to create something else? And now people are getting organized. They're slowly,
yes,
they've been waiting for a year, and now they see, oh, it's gonna be another year. Oh, it's gonna be a few more other years. They have all those different strands
yeah.
now. So it's like, okay, no point waiting around. Let's create our own different reality. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So, and also I think that what I got is that many people will stand firm and not back down and try to fight this. And I think maybe to some extent that's what's needed too. But it's imperative not to get lost in the battle and so consumed by these energies to the extent that you lose yourself or become overtaken by that which you oppose. It's impossible not to have some of that which you engage with rub off on you. And we need to be aware of that. And also, I mean, if you've gone through hard times in your life, if you have been like died and been reborn, or you had your brush with death, or really hard times, I think those of us who have that already, we need to stay strong in the inner knowing that we get through it. You know, it's not the end, it's the beginning of something much better that you couldn't envision and you couldn't see before this happened. And I'm not being cynical or trying to dismiss that people are actually suffering or that they actually are afraid, but you know, in my own life I faced that already, and I know that there's a life after that, you know. So if it's for me, it's for everybody, I think.
Wow, you've had a near death
And what,
experience. Amazing.
sorry?
You've had a near death experience.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So yeah, it has to do, I know that's what I learned from my numerology. So when I understood the purpose of my soul being here and what it had to go through, everything shifted for me, you know, when I started working with that. So and I think that to know yourself, not like intellectually I'm a mom or I am this or that, but to really know who you are, like you're a spiritual being, can change everything if you make it a practical reality for yourself, not just something that you think is cute to think
Abstract.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what this will drive people to do, and I think that those of us who have some kind of insight into this already and can be that, you know, beacon for those that are actually in pain or suffering now, is to take time to anchor ourselves in our spiritual being or in our spiritual practices daily, moment to moment sometimes. Just like you were talking about how you shifted by, you know, just, you know what, this is not doing it for me anymore, I need to do this. And then you do it, and you do it one thought at a time, and then you fall on your ass and you get up again, you know. So it's like a process. But if you start to realize how the universe works and how it is created, and you start to work with that in your daily life, you create the life that you're supposed to have here. You don't need to be a victim. You're not victim of anything, really. When you're grown up, you're not victim of anything else than your own mind. That's the only thing.
I can confirm that.
Yes. Yeah, and I can too, you know. So then we're the two of us here.
And when you say spiritual practices, because many people say spiritual practices, and I just imagine someone sitting meditating for hours, but like you said, spiritual practices might be talking to yourself kindly, envisioning the
Absolutely.
future that you want,
Mm-hmm.
just connecting with beauty, looking at beautiful views, and anything that
Mm-hmm.
raises your vibration, that makes you feel happier, basically, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. And one thing that's one of my favorite that I use too, even though to either to enhance or to pick me up when there's, you know, something has been going on, is mantras. I love mantras. And you could just, you know, put them in your earphones or something, and you just blast yourself until you know, it really raises the energy.
Should it be Sanskrit, or can it
Yeah,
be?
I've been doing Kundalini yoga for many years, not so much now, but that was the kind of yoga that I started out with. So I really listen to these kind of mantras. Yeah, sounds good. Mm.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Everything that you are seeing with your psychic cognizance talent, I've been feeling it in my body and through astrology, and I'm so happy
Yeah,
that you're seeing the same. So I feel so hopeful, actually, for humanity.
yeah.
We might feel in the dark now, but something, we're going to prepare such amazing future for those who are ready and who want that future. It's we're going to finally live connected, and we live with the things that truly matter. And this emptiness that it's taking over the world, all young people on antidepressants, killing themselves, purposeless, disconnection from nature, disconnection from ourselves, disconnection from each other, in a rat race of achievements and consumerism, this is falling apart. And
Mm-hmm.
suddenly, out of this emptiness and this loss that we're feeling, such connection, especially when people start connecting to each other in like-minded endeavors and goals, because they're not
Mm.
expecting anymore the government or companies or employment to save them. They start relying on each other.
Mm.
And this is where the true joy and happiness of being bonded and connected. And we might not live like millionaires with with jet setting and stuff, with all those toys that we're used to, but there will be true joy, and your soul will be waking up,
Mm-hmm.
and your soul will be overjoyed and overflowing with connection, with purpose, with meaning.
Mm.
Not because you're going to some job that you are doing something that you don't even know, you're some cog there and you don't even know what you're doing, how it is
Mm.
connected. No, we'll be doing meaningful work, meaningful connections with people. And this will happen within a few years. The people that are ready,
Yes,
I believe so many are ready, I believe 30, 40, 50%, they're going to start building this true world of heart connection and a meaningful life. So
mm.
it's a beautiful process. I think it's
Yeah, I think
painful. It's beautiful.
absolutely, absolutely. I'm all with you, and I feel too that you know, there's no joy as really making. I'm a mystic, and a mystic is to have a personal, inner, private connection to that which you feel is your spiritual side, or the divine, or this mystery that you could call God, but not far from, but it's far from the religious kind of idea about what God is. But to really make that inner connection, that's what changed my life. So that's very much what my entire focus of my work, not to push it on anybody, but to facilitate and help people make that inner connection, because that's the only thing you need. That's, I mean, the lottery is nothing compared to that. That's the big lottery of life, you know, the highest. um, you know, there's nothing like it.
This hole that we feel, an emptiness, it gets filled.
Yes, exactly. And I think that this now, you know, what I needed to was practical guidance on how to do this. And I think that now people are asking for, okay, so how do I do this? It sounds nice, you know, to have that inner connection, but how do I set it up? How do I do it? And I think that one thing is just to actually ask your soul and your higher mind to show you what you should know or do, and to speak to you in a way that you understand that it is your soul and your higher mind speaking to you. And then whatever your idea about, you know, the divine or the mystical is, that's fine. Those are my words for now. But you know, you can start just entertain the idea that there is this spiritual side of you that has everything under control and knows everything. You just need to get out of the way, get your mind and your ego out of the way. That's what that's
Absolutely.
my, yeah.
I've been, especially in the last 1 month, I was like, I can't anymore. I can't. And I started praying and saying, God, show me a different way of being. Till now, I always ask for this or that, give me this, that. It's just decide. I have money, I have happy family, I am healthy. Everything is great in my life. And I still felt so dissatisfied and negative inside. And I'm like, God, I'm moving away. Give me a sign. And yesterday, this shift happened. And it came I was praying for a few days or weeks before that, because I was at a loss. Like, why am I like that? What do I need? I have everything anyone has dreamed of, or I have dreamed of. So it's not external thing. And this shift came suddenly. It started through a YouTube video, and it's like God will send you the right method. So ask your higher self, ask your and wait, and a shift can happen. So thank you so much, Lady Casha, for joining us. This was such a message of hope, so beautiful, so profound. If anyone would like to...
Do you want me to stop there? I have something more for you. Do you want us to stop there? The reading is not done, so if you, it's your choice.
No. I thought it's finished. No, carry on. I want to hear everything. I'm not
okay, your choice. Your choice. No, it's fine.
Thank you. Please.
It's fine with me. Yeah, I'll see here what I would like to convey. Yeah, because you were saying, so there will be an acceleration of people attuning to their intuition as never before. The circumstances are like creating that, which is though very good. And we will see also, I think, a nice blending of being both grounded and visionary, both oriented in the material, because there is obviously a very tangible material reality. But I think too that has been missing in the past. You either just focus on the material or spiritual and airy-fairy, but to mix. And I think now is the time when people really understand the importance of both, how they support each other, and to marry that, you know. And let me see here, the outcome. So a year's perspective from now, we will have reached some kind of point where enough is enough, especially when it comes to our reaction to all that's taking place. Not only the external reality, but to feel victimized by it. So it's like a time where we will start really work with things in a different way, and put just grieving what's lost and everything behind us. Stop lamenting, and and to on a bigger scale, since this is a global reading. I mean, some people will and some people won't, but in a large enough number. And to really work with knowing that the positive outcome is already assured somehow, even though it will take some years. But the thing is too, that if you really make that inner connection and start to understand what it is to be a spiritual being in practical life, if it takes a year or if it takes 10 years or a week, doesn't matter. Retroactively, it doesn't matter anymore once you get that, make that connection. So we are actually in a new world, and we will understand that it's gone, what was, even though some of it is still here. Will be a lapse of a few years where the old is giving way and the new is stepping in. Yeah, let me see here. I don't need to say everything. We covered much by just talking too, so I may not have to tell everything here. Yeah, there will also be a lot of new ideas coming forth. A lot of creativity will, be unleashed, and potential of what we can create and how we will create it, and coming together. And this will be both for individuals and as groups. So I see a lot of busyness in that sense, you know, creating of expression that takes place. And also we will find each other. You mentioned that already a bit more, you know, the thing of finding our people, the ones that we resonate with. And it's obvious, you know, the more you know yourself and you are in your true own energy, the more you attract those that really belong to you. But what's different here, difficult here, is what we already touched on a little bit, is that so much is hidden. And we all get poked and triggered and blah, 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 you know, and we deal with our individual traumas differently. Some project them and some, you know, start to work with them. And so there's a little bit of a messy process here. And the bottom line is we need to individually face our own fears and shatter our own illusions, you know. So the overall energy for this year then is that there's a lot happening, both big issues and small issues in each and everybody's life and on the global arena, and all of it can be overwhelming. But you know, if we use our inner eye, we will see this positive trajectory that we are on, that we've been talking about now. So many things will seem as the opposite, will seem like it's really, the shit is really hitting the fan, so to speak. But if we can just look past that and not get entrenched in it and keep this vision or knowing of where we're actually going, we are not only feeling good ourselves, we actually are helping to create that reality that we're moving towards.
Yes. And sometimes I dive too much into what I don't like now, and I'm like, no, stop it. You're just strengthening it. Just imagine what's beyond there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've even started doing something else before on my feed on Facebook. Out people with different opinions, I could not stand it. I would have so much anger and I would delete them, so I would not see their comment. Now I said, no, I'm gonna keep the ones that trigger me the most, and I started keeping them and reading their messages. And I said, every time they post something that is nice, something humane, usually might be about their family or about some not something political, because I get triggered by political things, by people telling me how things are, you know. And every time they'll post something as a human being, out make it a point that I would write something nice to them as a comment. And after I did it a few times, I stopped having negative feelings towards those people. Now I love them, despite of that they have very different opinions than me, but I felt like I connected with them on a different human level, not about our opinions. And I'm so happy, because for 1 year I was so triggered. I was like, God, I know you want us to hate, to love those that are different than us. Why can't I? I was like so black and white. And this came as an idea to me. I've been doing it for a couple of months, and all my antagonism towards people that think differently than me, it's gone. Like, I now like them. We write to each other. Yes, we don't fight about, we don't mention the things we don't agree on, but we talk about the things that human together, that we connect. So maybe that can help someone who is interested what I'm, how I'm coping with that.
Yeah, very good. So one of the things that I felt is that this year is very much about growing up to becoming adults, and that is also not to be a victim anymore, to really understand that this is up to me. I can change my life, and I do it from inside out. So, and I think that many people will make huge progress in that area.
Beautiful.
Sorry.
You
go. So I just would like to share a quote with you that I just got reminded of. I put it on my Facebook some 9-10 years ago. You know Dr. Joe Dispenza?
Yes.
It's from his book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And it just somehow I felt it connected to what we were talking about. So it is possible to think greater than your present reality, and history books are filled with names of people who have done so. Men and women such as Martin Luther King Jr., William Wallace, Marie Curie, Mahatma Gandhi, Thomas Edison, and Joan of Arc. Every one of these individuals had a concept in his or her mind of a future reality that existed in a potential in the quantum field. This vision was alive in an inner world of possibilities beyond the senses, and in time, each of these people made those ideas reality. As a common thread, they all had a dream, vision, or objective that was much larger than they were. They all believed in a future destiny that was so real in their minds that they began to live as if that dream was already happening. They couldn't see, hear, taste, smell, or feel it, but they were so possessed by the dream that they acted in a way that corresponded to this potential reality ahead of time. In other words, they behaved as if what they envisioned was already a reality.
Wow, that's so beautiful. So I would call everyone to start creating that vision
Yeah.
ahead of where you want to be. And I have it. I already know what it is. So,
Yeah, great.
thank you so much, Lady Casha, for this beautiful, hopeful message, filled of love and wisdom, and very practical as well. And I would like to say to people, if anyone would like to connect with Lady Casha and have a private reading, you can click on the link below. I'm so happy to introduce this beautiful soul and teacher, healer, helper, light worker to you. I hope you embrace her into our community. And I think Lady Casha will keep doing videos for us whenever she can, for the signs or for the 9 numerological paths, however you feel attuned to. So thank you so much, Lady Casha, for joining us.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to connect with you. Lovely.
Looking forward to your future videos. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.